go again. What part of music do you not understand here? It is the Music is Therapy show. What is happening, everybody? Thank you for coming on this later than usual start. Later than usual start to the show. Of course, I'm trying to do these things solo now, which I'm hoping works out for you all. I've been working a lot on trying to get the studio set up in a different way too. Next time you see it, it's going to be a different orientation, and it's going to be great, I think. Right, Johnny Bean, you're over here in the community chat here. We got Randy's guitar channel also here. What's up, Randy? Matt Stewart, one of my supporters. Thank you for supporting in the past and hopefully in the present and future. And we've got Johnny Bean always there, having coffee and guitars. That's a great combination, dude. You know, coffee and guitars, it goes together like ebony and ivory, right? Anyway, we do have a wonderful show for you guys today. I'm going to be talking about not HP Studios, but he knows what this is all about. He's screaming out the old metal. Anyway, if you know Henning Pauly, you know what I'm talking about. Another awesome example of turning your passion into a way of making a living and way of life, you know. Dang, that guy's doing it. Have you seen his recent, like in the recent years, what he's managed to pull off? Sponsorships to go to like islands in the Philippines and whatnot, and doing videos out there. And wow, yeah, he's doing it right. Got Rock Daddy in the house too. What's happening? Roadie's Jam Cave. Yo, what's up? Howdy. Keith H. Look at that. First member to my show. So by the way, I do have membership set up now, so go check that out. However you do that, I always just click the button and joined. Like Johnny's one of the first ones I was a member to. Phil McKnight. I know that Henning never did really membership stuff because he didn't do a lot of live stuff. He started to do some lives now. He like did a rant. I think this morning I didn't have a chance to watch it because I'm prepping for this show, you know, and I take this show very seriously. Not that I don't take the other one seriously too, but because we do let that one go off the rails, and we do make fun and all that. But this show, I try to keep it more mental health conscious. So yeah, my Freudian slipping here is happening a lot already this morning, and it's coffee only, Johnny. Just so you know, only coffee in there, because I was listening to and really digging into this podcast where this guy who's a physicist, but also talking about consciousness and AI, and this guy is one of the leading, really one of the leading inventors of a lot of what we're using now. Everything from the chip at Intel, the first computer chip using silicone, on down to touch screen and touch phones, and now you know, what do they call it? Neural mapping and webbing. It's very, very deep stuff. And now he's talking a lot about the quantum computers and quantum consciousness, whether it's a possibility or not. He does not believe that AI will ever have real consciousness like we do. And really interesting stuff, all about the quantum world and quantum physics. We got Magic Man back. Magic Man. I think I'm going to be hanging out with you tomorrow, right? Bring in your clubs. We're going to do a little bit of physical therapy tomorrow with out on the grass, out on the greens, as they would say, right? And we got Blackjack Guitar also here. What's up, dude? And Chatsters. I started using that Chatsters a while ago, and that's kind of funny, right? Johnny Bean saying hi from the cafe now. He's got a wrench. Watch out. Be good. and then yeah, he's saying everyone's saying hi to each other. So today's show, we got 18 people already in here. That's awesome. Thank you all, by the way, for supporting and watching the shows and just, you know, taking your time to be here, you know, and I hope you get something valuable out of this. Obviously, I put a lot of time, as Brent will often joke around with me about, dude, too much time you put a lot of time in, just too much into your descriptions. And just like my too much talking, there's a lot of too much things happening. Sometimes my wife says I'm too much. I mean, I get it. It's okay, you know. But yeah, in the description, I have a number of links there, a lot of links. I did my research on this topic, and it's funny how this happens. This is not, it doesn't just come to me, but it kind of does come to me. We were at dinner last night in Walnut Creek. I was sending messages to Johnny about the place. Real nice restaurant there. It's like a Greek Mediterranean kind of thing. And we were out there doing something with my wife in the evening, early evening. She had to return something or whatever. And so we went there and did that at the mall over there in the Walnut Creek outdoor mall. It's really nice, you guys. If you live in the Bay Area, the mall in Walnut Creek, you know, it's really nice, right? And the downtown there is beautiful. They have a lot of wonderful restaurants, a really good Peruvian one called Limon, like my bird, Limon, right? Anyway, we wanted to get something Mediterranean, so we've been to this place called the Silk Road before, and great food, always great food. So we were hanging out, and she's asking me, "What are you going to do your show about, Laz? I haven't heard you talking about it." And we had a busy weekend. There's a lot of things going on. It's busy all around anyway, but and I'm like, I've been thinking about this after having some chats with Alex, our friend Alex Radford, who might be in the chat here, right? Hey, Greasy Monkey, what's up? Hey, speaking Spanish. Hola y buenos días por un todos amigos y amigas. Yes, thank you. Gracias. Y tú. I'm learning a little Spanish. Anyway, so I was talking with Alex, and he was telling me a little bit about how he got burnt out, working in the industry as a front of house kind of guy or doing engineering and whatnot, production, right? That side of production. Dan Gorman, what's up, Dan? Saying hi to everyone and me. What's up, dude? Coffee and guitars, right? Like there's that Coffee and Cars that Seinfeld did. That was one of my favorite things he's done. But yeah, it's just a show about nothing, right? Now we are talking about something here. We're talking about mental health within the music industry. And one good thing that came out of COVID, y'all, is the fact that there's a lot more attention being placed on therapy and music and how we need it there, but the stigma, right? There's always been a stigma when it comes to therapy, period. Getting mental health care, people, frown on it like, oh, are you crazy? Something wrong with you? CEOs getting mental health care, he's going to a psychologist. Oh my God. I don't know, stock starts to plummet. It's just ridiculous because taking care of your mental health is no different than taking care of your physical health. When you go get a shot for, whatever, I go, all over the world, I got to get my shots before I go or make sure that they're up to date, right? You're getting vaccinations or inoculations, or if you just need whatever, you take your pills that you need to for whatever medications you have. It's normal everyday stuff, right? Everybody's medicated in some way or another for the most part, right? I mean, coffee is a medication in a sense. This is got caffeine in it. It's a drug. We all know it. It's categorized as a drug, right? Raymond, you can get burnt out on anything. Absolutely, right? And a very important part of healthcare is mental health. And thank goodness, when the Bill of Rights of Healthcare, or whatever they call it, Healthcare Bill of Rights, got enacted by Congress. My wife's having a conversation with her mom, by the way. If you hear that, I'm curious. Do you guys hear that? She has to yell because her mom's going deaf or nearly deaf. My mom can't hear out of her left ear, so. But yeah, you can get burnt out on anything, and there are a lot of resources available to us now, but a lot of people don't know about these resources, right? And so it's really important to share the knowledge or share the information. And so let me make sure this is turned down. So the show is live. Keith H says, I can't hear. Notice that little star next to Keith H's name there. That's a membership star. He is my first #1 member of the show, and thank you for your support through the entire month. And I had this in January too, but we didn't collect very much money. But whoever becomes a member of my show, which I hope you keep on as a monthly, membership thing, will all the money for this month will go to the SoCal or Southern California, LA area fire relief victims. I've already taken a carload of stuff down there. I collected a bunch of really nice donations, a lot of nice clothes. Some stuff still had tags on it. My wife even gave me stuff that still had tags on it, right? And we're trying to help those people. It's going to take years to rebuild what they've got destroyed down there. A lot of insurance companies bailed on California because of all the costs of these things, and it's going to take a lot to rebuild it. So Raymond got burnt out. See, look, yeah, I got burnt out going to photograph concerts 2 or 3 or 4 times a week back in 79 to 80, right? You can overdo it. And so let's go right into it, right? What do we say we go right into this? So, hey, G. Butchnoff, what's up? Scott Hawk, what's up, dude? Who else? I feel like, okay, let's see. So I feel like this topic gets really tricky when it comes to female artists, too. I feel like there's a whole another layer of things to consider. Well, like in any industry, I think women do have it harder in many ways because of that glass ceiling thing and all these other issues that there's always the old boys club kind of stuff. And it's been a lot of work to get women and minorities and other people the same respect, right? And same level of education. Even just look back 50 years. That's tiny bit of time in all scheme of things, right? 50 years, go back and you'll see the limitations that women and minorities and other people. There should be no such thing as a minority or any separation. It shouldn't be. We should all be allowed to take our whatever our possible propensities, talents, wherever we have some potential to be fully not limited, but be able to develop them fully so that we can make our world a better place. So we can give ourselves to the world in a more powerful way, right? We can use our power to make the world a better place and everyone around us. So it all starts right around us. This is our little small community. We have 21 people in here. Very important that we work together and try to build something better out of this world, right? Every day. And politics aside, that's one way to get things done too. But you can just be active in your local communities and be involved with your friends and family first off. Yeah, and that works too, right? Medicated by hops, rice, barley, yeast, and water. It's a healthy food. Well, it originally started out as a way of sustaining oneself when you were, cloistered and as a monk at some monastery and had no food, and you were. And that's exactly how beer got its start, right? If you don't know, I'm sure you do, the Rock Daddy. And Patrick Trice says, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Patrick. So, and these are my words, like many of the words we all speak. These are words of others, and we're building on top. So, we're all trying not to plagiarize anyone or anything, but definitely spreading the gospel, if you want to call it that, or whatever, the non-religious gospel. Spreading the word of how we can help each other. So, if you look at my description here. In the description, I have a lot of info there. Starts out always with, if you need someone to talk to and need some help, I think it's hashtag 988 or call 800-273-8255. It's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and it doesn't mean that you're committing suicide or whatever. You can call that one even if you know someone else who's, you see some issues going on, you see some problems there. You see some hints of behavior and otherwise that don't look, very healthy. You can call and talk to someone there. You can reach out, a lifeline, like I did when I had issues with hooking up that amp. Pardon me. I almost choked on myself, my own saliva, laughing about how I almost destroyed a $5,000 amp. But yeah, I didn't, thank God. I called someone. I called one of my buddies, and then I called the other buddy when that buddy wasn't around. So that's what we do. We call our friends, and if they're not available, we call a professional. And so there's some links here to, people you can reach out to. Yeah, searching for tone. Dude, I appreciate, you putting out, that video on some of what you were dealing with someone else. And this happens in all walks of life, in any kind of job or work, if you want to call this a job. I consider it a job. I've been doing this in a way that I have put so much into it that I should call it a job. And that's why I'm monetizing now, and not necessarily for myself. Like, what I really plan to do is make this like a nonprofit in a sense, you know. I mean, it's definitely not a profiting profiting business right now. Yeah. Hmm. I better turn this on, otherwise my battery might die on my computer, right? Yeah, okay, plugged in. So I didn't have the power strip on though. So hey, Alex. So Alex, dude, you actually, in many ways, thinking about you and our conversation back up to dropping you off at your place after NAM, right? It came to mind about how much stress there is in the industry side of the music world that most of us don't really see or really maybe appreciate as much as we should, which is the production, stage setting, engineering, the front of house people, the lighting, the costuming, the all this aspect of it is all also a creative art, you know. Many of the musicians that become, you know, stars sometimes are actually roadies, you know, working for another band, and they just happen to, you know, hey, we need someone to play the part tonight because what's his name is not feeling it. And then next thing you know, they get noticed, you know. So sometimes that's how it happens, and that's why people are breaking their butt out there, you know, working in the scene. But it can be very stressful because in my description I mentioned this. So you've all heard the term or the phrase, "the show must go on," right? Well, that usually comes at a point where something's not working out well, or it's really really hard, and well, we got to, you know, pull ourselves up by your bootstraps kind of thing, you know. The show must go on. We got to put on the show no matter what. The show must go on, right? And that is sometimes at the expense of those who are performing or who are supporting the performers, right? Because the show is for the audience, and the audience is there to get away from the everyday troubles of life. They want the magic, they want the smoke and mirrors. They need that because that is something that gives them, you know, a little, you know, de-stressing. They're there to de-stress. You know, it helps them deal with the everyday life. That's why we love to go to shows, you know, and we like to see the live show and connect with each other and connect with the music and connect with the crowd. And that's the most beautiful part about, I think, music, is how it brings us together in that way. And I think that's why music has always been used in that way, in so many different, you know, so many just different aspects in life, like well, you know, it's everything from the spiritual side of things. You know, there's the reproduction side of things that they have ritual and music for, and then you have the battles and the music and the triumphant parades and the parading and music and all that. So when you go back into ancestral times, you know, music was often used in that way, and then was also used as a way to carry a story. You know, you would have the the tales of, you know, a certain person that was told through song, because it's easier to remember things through song, phonics, right? Greasy Monkey saying hi to everyone all at once. Yeah, and it can be clicky. Yeah, yeah, it can be. You know, yeah. You know, we talk sometimes in our communities here on YouTube, music communities, about how the metal people are clicky about, you know, metal. There was some discussion about on one channel they were talking about. I think it was Ryan and Steve's 60 cycle hum. They were talking about how touchy, you know, these heavy metal genre people are, you know. And like, oh, that's not metal, and that, you know, everyone's like always complaining about this, that, and the other thing. I think that's kind of funny. um and we were talking about that in my show the other night too, a little bit, and Johnny was talking about it too, about how, you know, there's just so many different styles of music now. um it, Everything's kind of breaking apart, like rock music. It's not like rock has died, but there's like so many different styles now. It's all in these little subsets, right? These genres. And so they're their own like little cliques, right? Yeah. Gatekeepers. Yeah, yeah, you guys are talking about the gatekeepers. Yeah. So Alex and I were talking a little bit about his experience and how he got burnt out, um, and that's a thing in the industry. And so there are some resources here I wanted to share with you guys. So Let's see. Yeah, some of what I talk about in the description, I could probably read this for you guys. So, though it's a wonderful industry and does a lot of good for the world, there's a lot that work within the industry, that know that common phrase, the show must go on. And it often comes, at whatever cost, and the cost of the mental health and even physical and otherwise health of the performers and the support people behind them, right? And putting on the shows, I've done it. I've done outdoor shows where I've run the boards and run the entire stages, sound systems, and everything, and I enjoy it. I kind of thrive. So sometimes it takes a certain kind of personality. You have to be very diplomatic. You have to be very confident. Like, hey, don't worry, the show's gonna be great. And and you just have to make sure you have all the ducks in a row. You gotta be prepared for it. Prepared for the event so that you know how it's all going to go down. When things change at the last minute, that's when you got to be faster on your feet, and you have to have a runner or somebody there that can take care of things. There have been times when we need an extra mic or something like that, and if we didn't have extra mics or something, then we had to run off to Guitar Center or wherever to make it happen. And that's what you do, and you don't cry about it, you don't fret about it, and you have to let it go. One guy made a really good point in one of these links. If you go to him, he made the point that don't take your work home with you, you know and that's true in any job. I don't like to take my work home with me. My wife sometimes asks me, what did you do all day today? I'm like, so many things. I don't even want to talk about it. Who cares? It's done. The day's over. I want to go on with the rest of life now, the rest of the story, Johnny, right? So, that's work. Work is work, and you get the work done. But when your work is your passion, like music is, it's hard to separate that out, right? And it's hard to and that can sometimes be a good and bad thing. I often was afraid to monetize and afraid to do this as a real thing, because like a job like thing, like where I'm really putting a lot more time and money and effort into it, because I was afraid that it might take the fun out of it. But you know what? I don't think so. I'm starting to get a little more settled in with the idea that I can do this, and as long as I'm making enough money otherwise, and maybe I'll make enough money doing this to sustain me, but in a sense of not as a profiteering thing. I really want to try to do this as some kind of a nonprofit. And I don't know, how do you do that with a YouTube channel, since YouTube profits? So is there a real way to do that? I don't know. That might be an interesting avenue to kind of, look into, right? Yeah, and absolutely right. And sometimes it's better to change course and do something else in life, right? And then there are also, you can find other avenues within the industry, if some parts of the industry are not conducive to your personality, or what you like. It's good to be introspective, like what you'd like your life to be. Do you have a vision of how you want to live? That's kind of why I didn't get into it as a youngster. When I was 19, you know 18, 19 years old, should I just go to LA and give it a shot, kind of thing. And I had a wonderful childhood family life with a very strong community around me, and I'm like, I want that. So I kind of stuck it out with the family business and doing that, because I saw that as the example of how they built it, coming here from a foreign country as refugees and building their life here. And I'm like, well, if they could do it coming here without even knowing the language, I should follow in their footsteps. And so in many ways I did that, and I had my own successes. But at the same time, it's different when you're building it up yourself like they did, whereas I was working with them. And I think that the excitement of, and that's why I built my studio and did that back in the 90s, the excitement of something that you build that's your own, and what you get out of that in respect to um, the experiences of that, right, really help build your character in life, like, and create your own vision in life. And so in many ways you've got to sometimes find your own path. So in the description, I have a bunch of places that you guys can all go to check out to get resources. So underneath my how to contact me and blah 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 blah, there's a section there where I have, mental health in the music industry. There's the Sound Mind Festival. It's basically some guy who works in trying to help people deal with, not just YouTube and stuff, but production and how to be of sound mind with sound. I like his play on words there. There's one called the Roadie Clinic. So that's obviously a website you can go to. I'm going to go ahead and open it. So the clinic, it's a roadie advocacy group. And you can go there and get access to all kinds of helpful stuff. Right? Let's see if it'll go there. It's not too bright. But that says backstage, and then there's general admission. So there's different ways you can get into that site and get some resources for your mental health and just otherwise support too, sometimes advice. Like a lot of people turn to a lot of these, like there's like these Reddit forums. There was one, on Reddit where one guy says, I'm quitting live sound. He writes this: I've been doing live production since 2012, right? And really enjoyed it, but there's always that but, right? The biggest source of stress and anxiety in my life has been production. He says he's great at other social settings, but his fuse for some reason just goes away when doing a show. And he's just had nervous breakdowns and anxiety attacks and rage-induced venting sessions after with his wife and family. So he took it home, and in an industry that he says that has to have it perfect or nothing as a live sound guy, right? Dealing with, last minute requests and schedule changes and putting them in bad situations. I've had things happen while in the middle of a live sound thing and somebody's changing something up and I'm like, no, can't do that. Sorry. This is what we've got scheduled. This is what you're doing. Period. This is what we're set up for. We did the sound check with this. That's the way it is. Sorry. And whether it's the artist or someone else, that's hard because you got to lay down the law sometimes and put your foot down, because if you're putting on a show for thousands of people, you can't have things going wrong. You got to have things, you just can't. And that's the pressure of it, and it can be tough, it can be really tough. So he talks about, he basically got to the point where he just doesn't know what to do. The criticism, backhanded comments, and blatant douchebaggery, as he put it, that he gets from many people in this line of work, he just can't handle anymore. And he's like, I don't know, I'm 29, and even though I'm not physically worn out, I'm definitely mentally exhausted. So some of the advice he was getting from others was, well, check out, the roadieclinic.com. They have some great resources to help out, says Noisy Nomad. Bottom line, take care of yourself and the ones you love. And if it's a live sound that's the issue, ditch it. You can find other ways, to make a living in this industry. And, but he built up his own business doing it. So part of what he also advises is, look, don't be too perfectionist about it. A lot of people don't notice half the time, what you're sometimes really focusing in on as, oh, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. He also talks about ADHD. Now, this is very interesting. Now, what also got me interested in doing this as a topic after talking with, Alex about burning out on this a bit, was an article I read in one of the magazines I picked up at NAMM. So, you get all this industry stuff there. And this one is called Mix Magazine, right? And in here, there's an article here. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can definitely dig into this. So I read the entire article. They talk quite a bit about, the needs for counseling and how during COVID, one of the things that was good about it was that it made it more okay in the general population to talk about mental health and try to eliminate the stigma to some degree, at least weaken the stigma, because everyone needs a little bit of therapy here and there once in a while. It never hurts, right? And it's nothing to be ashamed of or to worry about. You should, every just like going to your regular doctor. It's nothing wrong with, you know, seeing a therapist to talk things out sometimes. And there are a lot of people that are in the therapy side of things that have come from the music industry because they know it, right? So you can find resources in the therapy side of things, where those people have experience with other artists and performers and all the people that support them. So there's the behind the scenes organization, btshelp.org, and then there's Tour Health Research Initiative at tourhealth.org. I should pop these in here, right? Check these out, you guys. But it's all on the I think I have most of these in the description. tourhealth.org, check that one out. There's also this one, BTS Help Backstage. I think that's what that is. .org. No, behind the scenes.org. So these are all nonprofits, right? Typically .orgs are, I think. Well, maybe not then. It's another one called ACM Lifting Lives. So acmliftinglives.com. And then within some of these links, the Rhodey Clinic.com, of course. Let's put that one. The Rhodey Clinic.com. And you can find all these on the description, I believe. If I don't have all these in there, I'll put them all in there, but I think I put them all in there. And then there's touringcareerworkshop.com. So that could be good for you, even if you're just interested in a career, right? Shop.com. In live sound production. There you go. So, but look this stuff up on the description as well, after the show. Or open another browser. You can do that. Yeah, right? Absolutely, right, Holly? It's nice that there is a telehealth nowadays for people on the road. And that's the thing is that, like I said, one of the things we talked quite a bit about when I was taking classes at the College of San Mateo towards a degree in psychology and music therapy, was that there's a real, heavy stigma when it comes to any workplace situation, including this, heavy stigma on mental health care. And that stigma is slowly being dissipated, which is really important. Yeah. Okay. The Epley maneuver. I haven't heard of the Epley maneuver. Is that the one that Steve Vai did and hurt his finger? I'm kidding. All we had was alcohol and drugs. Yeah, right. And that is what people were doing. They were like Van Halen and others, self-medicating to deal with the pressures of the road and just the loneliness. Being away from your loved ones, having a lack of a sense of community, because community is usually much larger than just a small group of people you have in your production crew going with you. But some people have shown to really what I have to say it, you guys. What I love about Sammy Hagar is that he's got such just an ever, his positiveness for the most part. That's a guy who knows how to put on a party, but in a way where it's a happy thing. And it just seems to me like the positive and how he's always been able to branch out into different businesses and help other people with the music that he does. That's one of the things I really appreciate about him. He's very a social person, and he gets out there and puts it out. He's always putting it out there. He doesn't have to be doing what he's doing. He's got plenty of money. And I think he does it because he just loves, the community. He's created this community, in a sense. And rock and roll, we're all rock and rollers. We're all one part of one big crazy family, right? So no, it's for vertigo, says Holly Lewis. Okay. Oh my goodness, you guys. Well, you know that song by U2, right? Vertigo. That was a great video too, by the way, and it took a lot to make that happen. uh, yeah, with vertigo. Oh my God, that'd be crazy, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, but you know his story, right, Holly? It didn't just get handed to him. He worked his way up. Yeah. Yeah, they're both hardworking guys, right? Roth and Sammy are both Libras. Anyway, so, bottom line is that there's a there's a lot of people out there within the music industry as well working towards, a better future, a better way of doing this, this industry. And And though the big powerhouse music production companies might not be what they were anymore, I think we have more as artists and musicians. We have more power at our fingertips now than ever before when it comes to creating our own music and getting it out there. I mean, in the past, you could never put together the music you wanted without having a very expensive studio with a lot of studio time and having a lot of practice with your musicians and getting in there and doing it. You would have to sign your life away to some manager or some producer who hopefully doesn't totally, screw you and take everything. I mean, everybody in the music industry from the past that I've heard talk about this, have said that they made the best money when they were, you know, in charge of their own production, their own copyright, and their own publishing. Like Steve Vai talked about, he's made more money off his own, you know, uh, stuff than he's ever done on any of the other things that were big. Because, yeah, it costs a lot of money to put on a production too. So there's that side of it. There's all the people you got to pay to do all this stuff, and that takes a lot of work too, right? So yeah, I think the self-medicating, the drugs, part of rock and roll and all that, and even the sex and all that too, right? It's the loneliness. It's not having, you can't. How do you have a life on the road? It's not an easy thing to have a normal life with kids and a family on the road, right? So you give up a lot, right? Hey, Rocktalian, who like, hey, she's saying, hey, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So Holly says, I woke up in the morning about 10 years ago with that. I kept walking to the left and it disappeared after a couple of days. Well, okay, so you had that vertigo thing. My sister had that once too. It can really, yeah, be really difficult. Yeah, so there's a lot of resources there. Take advantage of them. Share them with your friends. Read the stories, and I can even read a little bit about this here. So let's see. So we've got written by Clive Young here in Mix Magazine. He says, a live event and tour production may be a bustling, perpetually growing industry, but being a part of that success can come at a price. The crews that provide sound for everything from high-profile concerts to local corporate events know the list of demands all too well. Long hours, high stress, extended periods away from home and loved ones, job insecurity, and more. Any one of those issues can be difficult to handle on its own, but mix them all together and then try to deal with them while on the road, and the results can be combustible, potentially leading to depression, addiction, or worse. Now, here's the numbers. The CDC reports the suicide rate for musicians, singers, and related workers, among them audio professionals, is nearly 139 per 100,000 people, or potentially inclusive group. Entertainers and performers, sports and related workers, comes in at an alarming 114. Both numbers are far higher than the national average of 32 across all occupations. So that's heavy, right, when it comes to depression, addiction, or worse. Getting more specific to the touring world, the Tour Health Research Initiative's Touring Health and Wellness Survey in 2020 queried 1,154 international touring artists and crew members just before the pandemic, and found that 254, that's nearly a quarter, at least one-fifth, right, of the participants to be at high risk for clinical depression and scoring and 200 of them scoring high for suicidality. So suicidal, thoughts or possible, feelings towards doing something like that, right? So including artists or not, the numbers confirm something that's been well known in live sound all along. Working in production can potentially wreak havoc on your mental health. Now, one part of this that I wanted to bring up, though, is I believe that there are a lot of people that are in the music industry because they use music as a form of therapy for themselves, and they do music as an art form because it's so rewarding to them, and how they see how it can be rewarding to others. So I think that there are already some people coming into the industry with some of those potential, you know how would you put it, susceptibility, I can't say the word, susceptibility to that, to those things, right? Anxiety and whatnot, depression, etc. So I watched several videos of musicians who've come out talking about how music saved them, music saved their life, and they started out writing poetry or whatever, like this guy Youngblood. I don't know too much about his career. He's I guess a Gen Zer, but he's very popular, I think, among young people. You've probably heard of him, right, you guys? Youngblood. And he talks about, there's a video where he's talking about, how he got through a lot of this because of music, depression and anxiety and all this stuff. People with ADHD tend to go towards work like this. That when we're talking about work like this, but we're talking about like production and stuff, because there's always some action going on, and there's always a new problem and something, and that attracts people, like that. So a lot of people in the industry are people that already are coming to it with some of these mental health challenges, I would like to say, right? And so that's there too. So you're going to get, you're going to get that. I think so that's an interesting thing about studies like this. You wonder, it's basically a questionnaire type study, so it's a survey of sorts, right? I don't know how scientific it was, but the bottom line is that, it is data that does show that there's a high percentage of people in the industry that either suffer by some, because of the work, by some mental health, or maybe they're coming to the industry with it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I wonder what you guys' thoughts on that are. But yeah, that's not good, right? Oh, you guys talking about, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there is a Super Bowl today, by the way. It's not on right now yet, is it? There's still some people here, though. There's 19 people in the chat. Thank you very much for joining live, you guys. Yeah. Oh no, dude. Okay, Hobo Roadie's here. I think Joe Shia might have died. So, okay, free my contract. Oh, well, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for you. Maybe bad, right? Yeah. Oh wow. Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just reading some of the stuff in the chat here. Yeah. Yeah, hope your team wins. Yeah, everyone's hoping that the other guy's team wins. Whoever wins, wins, right? I'm not that into football these days, but it'd be cool to see that dude Mahone do a three-peat, But some people hate that kind of thing, so they would want him not to win. I don't know. I think sports are fun to watch. Alex is ready for baseball, though. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. Oh, it's on at 3:30 Pacific. Okay, thanks. Magic Man, of course, knows the sports. He'll know. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Hobarodi. By the way, I'm sorry I didn't get. I got to give you a call. I'll try to give you a call today. If not today, for sure tomorrow. Okay. So me and my sweetie are going to be out doing some stuff together. But yeah. So bottom line being is that in this industry we see a lot of this, and thankfully the stigma is starting to be a little bit. And music, I think the music industry and people in music have always been maybe at the forefront of talking about this. Not just about how music has saved them, or how how tough it is to be on the road. And so it's probably the most vocal industry when it comes to talking about and dealing with mental health, and obviously all the drug addiction and other addictions that will come about because of the stress, right? um, that obviously is one of the reasons why it's so out in front. I'm sure CEOs of companies have a lot of stress and stuff too, but you think they're talking to all their workmates about their depression or their no. They're not. um yeah, yeah, yeah. Tours can be a little saner in terms of hours, sure, but we all know that that's a money thing, and it's probably not going to change anytime soon. The question becomes, how can people get more support for their mental health, for their well-being, that helps them cope with all these stressors and still be productive and sane members of their profession, right? So big hurdles, as they're talking about here. Um, so, obviously some of these resources are free counseling and things like that. They can set you up with a counselor that actually has some experience in the field that you're working in and can definitely talk to you in regards to that. When you go see, like, sometimes a regular psychologist and they're like, oh, you're with famous Beyonce or whatever, and hey, can you get me some tickets and this and that, and the next thing you know, you're not even getting the help from this professional, but they're just um, fanboying out or whatever you want to call it out on the people that you work with, and that doesn't help. So that has happened with some people in the industry. So it's good to see that there are industry people working, collaborating with each other. So some great organizations there. There's another one that's called soundmindlive.org. So let me put that in, soundmindlive.org. Check them out. They have a lot of really great resources there. And then for the science, if you really want to dig into the science, there's a link there from the National Institutes of Health, Music, Mental Health, and Immunity, and talking about how you can really help yourself with music, but also how people within the industry need services and help too. And there's another organization called Live Free 999, Live Free 999.org. So none of these, I think, are actual links here that I'm posting, but they're in my description, so go check it out there. Yeah. So I knew quite a few work partners who turned to alcohol. 2 of them are now gone. Wow. So what bias? Let's see what bias existed when collecting the data? Yeah, that's the question, right? You don't know. Did they write their conclusions beforehand and then collect data to prove their? Yeah, that's the thing. So that's why I was even making a comment about that very questionnaire that they put out. But all of this is within. I'm sure you can do the research if you want to dig deeper on this article here. Live sound makes moves on mental health here. The resources that I posted into the chat here are on my description. You can clip that right there, right? And then like anything, I mean, science is what it is. It's always changing. There's always more data that we have to then sift through and then figure out how it relates to what we already know. But it's very important to consider that people in the industry have a lot of stress, and they need a lot of support. And we're trying to get the word out on that, right? Yeah. So there's a team of music journalists that co-wrote a book in the UK called Sound Advice: The Ultimate Guide to a Healthy and Successful Career in Music. And they just came out with a new second edition that's taking an international approach to providing musicians and crews with tools and techniques for addressing mental and physical health problems at all points of their career, including while on the road. Quote, they say, the importance of knowing yourself and knowing what you need in order to thrive or have a successful tour is so crucial. Hyman says, I'd really encourage all touring professionals to check in with themselves. What are their weak points and warning signs of those weak points? And then communicate them to their team. In other words, tell them your weakness. Do you ever get that question when you go to an interview for a job? What's one of your weaknesses? Well, they ask you that because they want to know. Are you even aware of a weakness that you have, and how would we deal with it if it comes up, or how would you deal with it if it came up? So what she says, that means I go down at some point, and this is how it's going to look. Maybe I might start withdrawing. If that happens, please come up to me and say, listen, you told us to check in with you. If we see something, have this chat before the stress of the tour has started, and acknowledge we all have weak points. What's yours? And do we have permission to ask, how can we help? Right? Because you got to ask permission too. Most people don't want you to telling them what they should do, but there might be a way to, open the door. And then clear communication in advance encourages others to open up about whatever they might be struggling with, and it creates a better culture. Right? Jones then adds, however, the flip side of that is also being aware that if you notice someone struggling, what are your own limitations in supporting that person, right? Perhaps you can ask them how they are and open a conversation, but then where does it stop for you to make sure that you're looking after yourself? So don't get drawn in either. Sometimes you can end up trying to be the white knight thing, and you're going to die by that sword. So then is there a point where you're going to need to hand them over to someone else or a service, right? So the book also explores other ways to take care of yourself on the road, realistically looking at touring, dietary, and sleeping habits. I really loved Mary Spender recently did a video about 2-3 weeks ago about her touring, her show. She hired some guys. She lost money on it, but she talked about what she invested in, right? And she invested in, for example, getting hotel rooms so they weren't sleeping in the van or whatever it is, so they can get a good night's sleep, so they can less stress and perform better. And that costs, and the cost of touring, how she realized how expensive it really is. And I'm sure there might be some things that she would change. And she's someone that I think, tries to learn from her own, if you want to call them mistakes, or I would just call them learning experiences, right? But yeah, all these things matter. And then be careful when it comes to drinking, eating well. All this stuff matters, right? Road food, as we all know, it's like whenever we go to Nam, it's hard to have good, hygiene when it comes to eating and everything, right? Because you're on the go, and that's why a lot of people hate Nam. They're like, they can't wait till it's over because it's like, God, it's too much, I think you got to take care of yourself. You got to take breaks. We took breaks during the day. We went and had a beer. We had a lunch, But in 3 days, we got a lot done. But I could have still done an entire another week of Nam. But maybe because I paced myself, and I was really enjoying it a lot. I wish I could have done a whole nother week in Nam, like I was saying. It's like, I'd be up for it. But I'm not somebody at an exhibiting things and having to perform, even though I was shooting video and I was doing a lot of that. And I still have a lot of videos to still post up to YouTube. Yeah, you did, right? Yeah, right. It costed her, but she always comes out with a really good, and I've heard her talking about her next tour that she's going to do, and there's a couple changes probably, but she's great. I love how she runs her channel and what she does. Yeah, and then that's right too. People outside of the industry have a lot of stress too, and I think that's what's wonderful about the music community and the music industry is that we're a lot of times at the forefront of getting the word out. Music is used a lot of times as the trumpeter, the ranger of sorts, someone who goes out in the front. Even before the Marines, the Rangers are out, and they're the ones who are, they're on the edge, man. And a lot of times when it comes to even a lot of social and cultural topics come out and become regular common topics amongst culture and society through music. Music is wonderful at that, right? Yeah, we missed out on so much this year, dude. I swear to God, I wish I had another week there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is what it is, right? Yeah. Oh, didn't you guys just have that oh, I wish he was in here. Hey, what's up, Wayne McCall? Dude, there you are. Okay, rock. Yeah, right on, dude. Dane, dude, you must have had an awesome weekend, right? With Larry Mitchell. That was yesterday, I'm assuming, or is it today? Anyway, I think it was yesterday because you're thanking Rock Daddy for his help. Dane rocks, you guys. If you don't know Zim's guitars, I got stickers of his and guitar that I bought from him and all kinds of stuff in here. And I know Ron's bought a bunch of guitars from him as well. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, buy a guitar, right? Yeah, go buy a guitar from Zim's. Yeah, he had Larry Mitchell do a clinic in there, which is Larry Mitchell's one of the most amazing, most amazing people in the world. Yeah, yeah, we missed out on a lot. Yeah, yeah, everyone's very helpful. Yeah, they know that I should do everything if I don't want to. Yeah, dude, you are in the biggest circle of love, Hobarodi. Everybody loves Hobarodi, right? Yeah, you're the best, dude. Yeah, you're the best. Anyway, thank you, Hobarodi. Yeah. Yeah, it was really good, right? Yeah, she did. And she took on her own career. She was offered to be signed, right? But she said no. And I think she made the best decision because she realized that they were going to try to make her into something that she didn't want to be. They were going to try to make her fit a certain kind of personality or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly, Faye, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I gotta get going, you guys. I'm trying to keep these to 1 hour. It's part of the reason why I'm doing these solo from now on. I'm gonna definitely be bringing guests in, though. It's always good to have people on. But I'm gonna try to keep it to that 1 hour. And I started late, so I ran a little bit late here because of that. But yeah, Magic Man says Tame Impala showed everyone the path to making money in music in the modern era. Do everything yourself, publish it yourself, be your own publisher, and write hit songs. Just do it, right? Johnny's always saying that to me too. Do it. I'm getting around to it eventually. It's just one of those things. You're taking steps toward whatever your goals are, right? And I've been doing it step by step along the way here, with help like from Hobo Rody with his having these amps in here for a little while. That's really awesome. Guys like Keith H helping me out. By the way, I sent you guys, UN Hobarodi, the first two members to the channel. Thank you very much for your membership. See that little star next to his name there? That means he's a member. Please join if you can. This rest of this next, like 3 more weeks, I guess, of February, I'll be giving away any of the money you send me. That's a membership or a donation. Like he also sent me one. He sent me a donation by PayPal. What's great about the PayPal, and I'll set up Patreon as well, and I'll start doing some merch too, is once that's set up, PayPal and I think Patreon, they give you a much higher percentage. I think PayPal, I get 100% of it if it's friends and family. So do it as a friends and family kind of donation, and I'll put down the entire list of all the donations for this month, and then send it to the fire, survivors of the fires down there in LA. And we might keep doing this with other things too, like Guitars for Vets and all that. We'll do like regular donations, as I do anyway. So we'll do like a channel. There's a regular channel donation thing. And then just to keep things running here, I'm going to be putting more time and stuff. I'll be getting rid of this and hooking up this very soon. A real proper mic for the studio here. But I want to move everything around in here, around this new keyboard that I have. That's going to be really changing up some stuff here. So yeah, you can do it at 99 cents. You can do it at $2.99, I think, and you can do it at $4.99 or $9.99. So I did 4 tiers. That way it gives you guys some options. And you don't have to do that membership thing. If you want to just PayPal me too, I'll mention you, like I mentioned Keith H. He PayPal me $10. So that's actually going to the survivors this month. So anything you guys send me, or you can go back to some of those videos in the past, like the ones where I talk about Fire Aid. Music Cares is another organization that you can reach out to if you need help for yourself or another musician friend or someone in the industry. Music Cares is actually an organization that does a lot of this kind of stuff, connecting you to therapy, and there's free therapists and online therapists and stuff. So yeah. Yeah, if I didn't tell but there is a difference. So when you do hear, like, you watch some of these other shows, like Rick Beato's shows or any of these other shows, you do notice a difference with the better mic and the compression. But this is meant to be a podcast mic, you know. I mean, it's a cheap mic. It's like a $70 USB mic. But when you run everything through like the solid state logic preamp, um, that I have in this interface here, it's going to make a difference in sound quality, and it'll be a cut above where we're at right now, right? But thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that, man. And yeah, that's going to be something else. I sent you like some demos that other people have done, and now this is the latest upgrade to it. So this is 4.0 or whatever. This is generation 4, and they finally got it, I think, almost perfect. I would have just done one thing different. but it's cool the way they did it. I'll do a demo about that, or I don't know if I'll do a review. I'll just demo it, right? Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, Eddie, man. Thanks for watching the show. So, by the way, just being a subscriber, which costs nothing, subscribe to my show. Help me get to 1,000. I'm getting closer, you guys. We're almost about to break into 900, so we're right around the 900 range right now. We're at 897, 896, 899. Keeps bouncing around. But share this to everybody. Sign up with, get people signed up who really want to be part of it. If they're just doing the thing, I mean, like doing 2 or 3 things, I'd rather have real subscribers, real numbers. And yeah, it is pretty amazing what that keyboard can do, right? It's a completely different new kind of instrument that's like a keyboard-esque kind of thing, but yeah, it's really something. So I'll be showing that off once I rearrange everything here. So a couple things I have to do before I can do that. So I'm gonna head out, you guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining the show. Got to use the sound box. It's cheesy, I know, but it works. It's fun. It's fun. I just like pushing the buttons. Patrick, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's very good to have, right? Absolutely, right? Try to set you up with that first before you're talking to me. Yeah, right? I know that you're trying to get something set up in your situation there too, right? I got to go see what you've got going on in your channel. I don't look at your stuff often enough. But we'll be getting together live in person, right? That's going to be awesome. So thank you very much for coming. I hope you guys reach out to your community, your friends, your your support group of friends, and everyone that helps you do what you want to do. And if you don't find them in your day-to-day life, find them like we do here on social media and online. I think that's the best part of social media, is when it's being when it's a positive effect on the world. There's always all the trolls out there, like, unfortunately, searching for tone. Brian over there had to deal with something that was pretty harrowing, it sounded. And sometimes you got to just say, hey, sorry you had a bad experience. Thanks for watching the shows, but we can't really do much for you. Guitar got destroyed by shipping, and what do? It was a free giveaway. I was just watching like a short where somebody shows where an amp was delivered to their house and the UPS guy throws the box down like that. It's like, really? So thank goodness they didn't do that with that thing. But anyway, yeah, thanks for joining, you guys. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, go listen to some music. Go watch some live shows. Support your live shows. Support your musicians. Buy their music. Buy their vinyls or whatever you can. Buy their merch. And support them if you can, or if you don't have the money, you just want to listen, just listen, but subscribe and share. Do all those things, right? Well, you were talking about wanting to do some videos. I remember you telling me you don't do content yet. But boy, if you do, people are going to check in on that, dude, because I'm sure it's going to be fun. But I know you were asking me about, hey, what do you use for holding the camera phone? Like, I use my phone. I have these phone holders, and I was sending you pictures of what I use. I got some newer things too that are really cool. Anyway, I'll send you some pictures by email or something. But yeah, but whenever you do decide to start a channel, if ever, that'll be awesome. Yeah. All right. Until next time, you guys, rock on. Thank you for coming. And music is therapy. And don't forget, the secret to tone is in your mind, but the feel comes from your heart. Put it together with musical instruments and friends and rock on. And Dale Palmer, as always, at the end. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.